for these vocabulary words as I read the lesson.
Brahman, karma, reincarnation, Dharma, caste, shrine.
Think about this question while you watch the video.
Hinduism. Hinduism is one of the oldest religions in the world. Today, it is the world's third largest in number of believers. Hinduism began with the religion of the Aryans, who arrived in India about 1500 BC. The Aryans believed in many gods and goddesses who controlled the forces of nature. We know about Aryan religion from their ancient hymns and poetry, especially their epics. For centuries, the priests, or Brahmins, recited these works, and much later they were written down in Sanskrit. Over the centuries, Aryan religion borrowed religious ideas from the people of India. This mix of beliefs eventually became Hinduism. A universal spirit. Hinduism has many gods and goddesses. However, Hindus tend to think of all gods and goddesses as different parts of one universal spirit. This universal spirit is called Brahman. The search for a universal spirit is described in the ancient religious writings known as the Upanishad. These writings say that every living being has a soul that wants to be reunited with Brahman. The Upanishads describe this union. A soul that becomes one with Brahman is like a lump of salt thrown into water. The lump of salt is gone, but the water tastes salty. The salt has become part of the water. Hindu sacred texts. Ancient Aryan songs known as the Vedas, or books of knowledge, are among the building blocks of Hinduism. The Aryans believed that these songs were holy because they transmitted sacred knowledge about how the world works. Songs and poems. There are 4 Vedas in all: the Rig Veda, the Sama Veda, the Yajur Veda, and the Atharva Veda. The oldest, the Rig Veda, contains over 1,000 hymns and is believed to date back to 1000 BC. The Vedas tell Hindus about right and wrong behavior. They explain how people were created and introduce the many Hindu gods and goddesses. The Upanishads' poetic writings about the Vedas have been called the supreme expression of the Indian mind. They shed light on important Hindu ideas such as Brahman, rebirth, and karma. Karma is the word that describes the consequences of how a person lives. The word Upanishad means sitting down close to. The idea is of a person sitting on the ground near a guru. In the early days of Hinduism, lessons were often taught in a quiet, remote spot in the forest known as an ashram, or place of spirituality. A prince's duty. Many important Hindu ideas are explored in a long poem called the Bhagavad Gita. The Sanskrit title means Song of the Lord. The Bhagavad Gita takes the form of a conversation between the Hindu god, Krishna, and the warrior prince, Arjuna. Krishna, whom Hindus regard as the teacher of the world, has appeared on earth to advise Arjuna. Arjuna is about to go into battle and is disturbed by the thought that he might be killed or that he might have to kill. He starts wondering, how should one live this life? What is the right way to live? What are one's duties towards oneself, towards others, toward the gods? Krishna provides Arjuna with some answers and convinces him that one's main responsibility is to do his or her duty. The cycle of life and death. Hindus believe that all living things move in a constant cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. This cycle of rebirth is known as reincarnation. This belief influences how Hindus live their daily lives. It even affects how Hindus treat animals because they consider all life sacred. According to the Hindus, good deeds in this life are rewarded in the next lifetime. Likewise, bad acts in a previous life are punished in this life, or incarnation. Hindus also believe that a soul is not joined to the Brahman immediately after a person dies. The soul must journey through many reincarnations before it can be joined with Brahman. On its journey, a soul might be reborn into a higher social class. If a person lived a bad life, he or she might be reborn into a lower class. If Hindus do their duty and live a good life, they will have good karma. This will move them closer to the Brahman in their next life. Different duties. To earn the reward of a better life in their next life, Hindus believe they must perform their duty. Dharma is the divine law. The word Dharma literally means laws and duties and is described in the Vedas. People must perform the duties of their caste. A caste is a certain social group that someone is born into and cannot change. The caste system. One of the results of the Aryan migration into India was the development of a caste system. A caste dictates what job you will have, whom you can marry, and with whom you can socialize. Indians believed they had to be happy with their role in life and do the work of their caste. The belief in reincarnation gave hope to everyone, even servants. If servants did their duty, they might be reborn into a higher caste. Why was a caste system created? One reason the Aryans might have created the caste system was because the people they had displaced outnumbered them. The caste system kept groups separate and set the rules for everyone's behavior. This helped the Aryans stay in control. 4 classes. Long before the caste system came about, the Aryans believed that society was divided into 4 classes called Varnas. The top 2 Varnas were Brahmins and Kshatriyas. Brahmins were the priests, the only people who could perform religious ceremonies. The Kshatriyas were warriors who ran both the government and the army. On the next level down were the Vaisyas, or commoners, who were usually farmers and merchants. Below the Vaisyas were the Sudras. They were manual laborers and servants who had few rights. Most Indians belonged to the Sudra caste. There was one group that did not belong to any Varna. Its members were called untouchables. They performed work other Indians thought was too dirty, such as collecting trash, skinning animals, or handling dead bodies. Life for an untouchable was very hard. Most Indians believed that being near an untouchable was harmful, so they forced them to live apart from others. Gods and goddesses. Over time, Hinduism grew to include hundreds of different beliefs and practices. Among these is that Brahman is everywhere, in everyone, and in everything. A traditional greeting is Namaste, or I honor the light within you. Because the concept of Brahman as the universal soul can be difficult for many people to understand, Hindus have given Brahman thousands of different personalities. These personalities are the gods and goddesses of the Hindu religion. Many of them are remembered by festivals such as Diwali. Among these aspects are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer. Destruction includes not just death, but also shedding old habits. The goddess Devi is also worshipped as the mother of all creation. Hindus also accept that there may be different paths to the truth. Daily religion. A temple or house of worship is not the center of Hindu religious life. Hindu temples do not have regularly scheduled times of worship, and Hindus do not generally pray at the same temple at the same time each week. Instead, a Hindu home has a room or part of a room set apart as a shrine or a special religious place. Hindu shrines often contain pictures or likenesses of the gods or goddesses a family worships. Some Hindus also meditate each morning. Meditation involves sitting quietly and clearing your mind of all thoughts in order to make contact with the divine soul in all things. Hindus have been using these methods to achieve peace and understanding for many thousands of years now.
Here's what you learned today.
The Aryans introduced Hinduism to India. The Vedas are sacred texts of Hinduism. The Rig Veda is the oldest of these works. The caste system was the social structure of ancient Indian civilization and Hinduism. Hinduism is a religion that contains many different beliefs and practices. And finally, Hindus often worship and meditate in shrines in their homes.